Chu Ka, the biological daughter, has returned. She brought all her strength, standing in the middle of the luxurious living room, quietly looking at this villa. His eyes were red, his hands were clenched, his dry, cracked lips were pressed so tightly that they turned white. My mother is not right. It should be called Chu Ka's mother. Her eyes were also red. Tears flowed continuously. Chu's father tightened his face, his eyes full of regret and pain. Chu Xie is the person who used to be my brother. Chu Tu Fong stood up. He didn't say a word, just walked over and hugged Chu Ka's thin shoulder tightly. The body trembled slightly, then let go. Chu Ka snorted, coldly, and decisively pushed Chu Tu Fong away. Chu Tu Fong immediately panicked. The heir to Chu Ti Group is always cold, quiet, and has a face like thunder. But now I'm like a lost child. Ka, we are sorry for you, letting you suffer for so many years. Chu's mother burst into tears, sobbing until she choked and couldn't breathe. I'm not suffering. I just eat cassava every day, raise pigs, herd sheep. Every day I get beaten several times. My body is full of wounds. When I die in winter, no one will know. Chu Ka smiled faintly, full of ridicule, resentment welling up. She was lost when she was 7 years old and is now 20 years old. That year, the entire Chu family went on a trip together. Chu Ka was kidnapped by bad guys and disappeared in the mountains and forests. Ka, I know you've suffered a lot over the years. I've always looked for you, never given up. Finally found you. Chu's father, with tears in his eyes, walked towards Chu Ka. Chu Ka suddenly pointed at me and snorted coldly. Never gave up? So what about me? Would it be better for me to die? After all, everyone already has a new daughter. All eyes turned to me. I sighed softly. A feeling of helplessness filled my heart. Growing up in an orphanage, after losing her biological daughter, Chu's mother suffered for a long time and could not recover. After that, an acquaintance introduced her to the orphanage and adopted me just because I had some similarities to Chu Ka. Over the years, my life in the Chu family has not been bad. Chu's mother loves me very much and gets whatever she wants. Although Chu's father is not too close, he still sees me as his daughter. As for Chu Tu Fong, even though he never really accepted me, an outsider suddenly entering his family, he never said a harsh word to me. I have feelings for this family, so when my biological parents came to me, I did not agree to return to them. 2 years ago, that day, supercars lined up to take me home. Dozens of luxury cars worth millions of dollars appeared, and helicopters were also dispatched to ensure the return route was not blocked. My new mansion has also opened. Just waiting for me to move in under the name of my biological parents are dozens of large companies. I can freely choose which one to take over. Even multinational corporations in Europe or America can let me try. I was stunned by all of that, but in the end I still didn't return. I just asked them not to appear, nor to bother my adoptive parents. I didn't go back, partly because I didn't know how to face that world, partly because I couldn't bear to leave my adoptive parents. But now, maybe I have to leave. Chu Ka was filled with resentment, staring at me as if all the suffering she had endured over the years was because of me. The adoptive parents clearly didn't know what to do. Chu Tu Fong frowned tightly, then coldly said, Chu Nuok Hai, go back to school and finish college properly. I'm in the 2nd semester of my 3rd year. I hardly go to school anymore. Zhou Zifeng told me to go back to school, obviously wanting me to avoid Zhou Ku. My adoptive parents also quickly agreed, urging me to return to school. I nodded and quietly went into the room to pack my things. Chu Ka became even angrier. College? When I was so cold that my face cracked in the mountains, you were leisurely sitting in the lecture hall, right? Her voice was filled with resentment. Get out. Get out of my house. Don't ever come back again. She stared at me, her eyes burning with anger, her whole body trembling nonstop. The adoptive parents were once again confused. Chu Tu Fong just pursed his lips and didn't say a word. I also felt uncomfortable, but thinking back, she was also pitiful. Well, just bear with it for a bit. I'm about to leave anyway. I bowed deeply to my adoptive parents and Chu Tu Fong, saying thank you to my parents and brother for taking care of me all these years. I turned around and prepared to leave. The adoptive parents looked heartbroken, while Chu Tu Fong remained silent as before. Stop acting so pitiful. Chu Ka's hateful voice rang out behind me. You are just an abandoned child, someone no one needs. Those words were like a sharp knife stabbing straight into my heart. The fire of anger inside me flared up instantly. Chu-ka, you should understand one thing clearly. The suffering you have to endure is not caused by me. I don't owe you anything, I replied coldly. Seeing that I dared to argue, Chu-ka immediately rushed to hit me. You shameless bastard. You took away my family. You took everything from me. She was almost crazy. Her face was red with anger. But her physical condition is too weak. She has no strength at all. I just pushed lightly. She fell to the ground, burst into tears, screaming nonstop. My parents don't need me anymore. No one loves me. This made the adoptive parents so heartbroken that they frantically helped Chu-ka get up. Chu Tu-fong frowned at me and said coldly, Chu Nuok-hai, what are you doing? Quickly pack your things and leave. He paused for a moment and then continued, I will give you some money. After speaking, he turned away and didn't look at me anymore. The adoptive parents hugged Chu-ka tightly, not even turning to look at me once. I quietly packed up some things and walked out of the villa. My adoptive parents and Chu Tu-fong stood at the door to see me off with indescribable eyes. Chu-ka held his adoptive parents' hands tightly, an imperceptible smile flickering on his lips. I gently waved goodbye and then decisively turned around and left. But suddenly, Chu-ka rushed in and didn't even let my adoptive parents and Chu Tu-fong come with me. I looked at her suspiciously. Chu-ka leaned close to me and smirked. How was my acting? I didn't expect it to be so easy to chase you away. She laughed happily. I thought I had to perform for a few more days. I was stunned. It turned out it was all just an act. How admirable. I have to admit she is very skilled. Chu-ka shrugged. Over the years, I have endured all kinds of torture in the mountains. If I didn't know how to handle it, how could I survive? She smiled, her eyes flashing with satisfaction. I even used a beauty trick to make the couple who bought me kill each other. Haha, this is so funny. She smiled wildly, full of complacency. I just shook my head and said softly, You are very good, but from now on you don't need to use tricks anymore. Just live well. I will live well. Sister. Chu-ka suddenly withdrew his smile. His eyes became sharp. But I warn you in advance, my parents and brothers still have some feelings for you. If you dare to linger with them, I will show you how cruel it is. She smirked, revealing her chipped teeth. Her chapped lips reflected the years of hardship she had gone through. I didn't say anything more, just quietly turned and left. Chu-ka waved goodbye to me and ran towards the villa. I walked out of the villa area without looking back. I suddenly felt confused, not knowing where to go. After a moment of hesitation, I took out my phone and called a person whose name in the contact list was Uncle Vong. He was my biological parents' longtime housekeeper. He has secretly come to see me many times in the past 2 years, hoping for my return. He said my parents cried every day until they ran out of tears, making him unable to bear it. The phone just connected, the voice. Vong trembled and said, Miss, do you intend to go home? I sighed softly. I don't know where to go anymore. Miss, are you still at the Phoenix Villa? Please wait for me. I'll come pick you up immediately. Immediately after that, a convoy of super luxury cars appeared. More than a dozen Bentley cars lined up. The majestic aura made everyone stunned. The security guards in front of the villa gate also quickly took out their phones to take photos. I felt a bit embarrassed. Miss, you finally returned. Uncle Vong quickly ran over. Even though he is over 70, he still exudes sophistication, dresses luxuriously, and has a demeanor similar to that of a successful CEO. I frowned. What is Uncle Vong doing, mobilizing a whole convoy like this? I'll lose face. I quickly covered half of my face with my hand, avoiding the security guard from recognizing me. Uncle Vong seriously replied, Time is tight. I can only find so many cars. It's really not worthy of the lady's status. He even criticized it a little more. I quickly got in the car. Let's go, stop it. The convoy rolled and headed straight to a manor on the outskirts of the city. In a big city like this, land is extremely expensive. Even if you have money, you may not be able to buy it. Yet my father just waved his hand and had prepared this place for me a long time ago. Miss, the old man and his wife are currently in Europe discussing business matters. I have already informed them. They said they would end their business trip as soon as possible and return to see you. Uncle Vong could not hide his excitement. Let them take care of business first. I replied calmly. I don't want my biological parents to have to abandon big deals because of me. But Uncle Vong was determined. Miss, you don't understand. There's nothing more important than you. We've been waiting for you for too long. As he spoke, his eyes were red and his voice was choked. When you were little, I used to carry you in my arms. Over the years, I've been looking forward to every day. Seeing him move to tears, I couldn't help but soften my heart. Thank you, Uncle. Uncle Vong quickly waved his hand, not daring to accept. Don't dare accept it. Having said that, he excitedly made plans again. The young lady has returned. We must hold a grand party. Invite all important figures in the upper class to attend. Ah, that's right. Even though the Chu family doesn't have any significant status, they still raised you. We should also send them a letter to invite them. I heard you have an adopted brother, right? His name is Zhou Zifeng. Uncle Vong rubbed his hands, his eyes full of meaning. She nodded yes. How does he treat you? He's not bad. He just has a rather cold personality. That's good. Uncle Vong clapped his hands. We will find a way to cooperate with him on a big project in Jincheng, so he can earn tens of billions. Consider it a return of gratitude. His words were as light as nothing, as if tens of billions were just a small number. I also have no opinion. When I arrived at the manor, 2 long lines of servants were already lined up, bowing to welcome me. I widened my eyes and looked at the unbelievably large manor house, truly overwhelmed. Is this the royal palace? Uncle Vong smiled slightly. Miss, I know you are not used to your new identity, so I won't bother you too much. Having said that, he helped me pack my luggage and took out a small leather box. I glanced inside and discovered many valuable things. Uncle Vong, what is this? This is the Black Gold Dragon card, the most powerful black card of the Jinxing financial system, with a limit of 1 billion yuan. This is this lady's pocket money. Here are the car keys, a total of 7 cars, including Ferrari, Bugatti, Maserati. They are all parked in the basement. This is the honorary gold card of the city's largest corporation, Fong Hoa Group, which can prove your identity. If you are free, you can stop by and take a look. Uncle Vong continuously offered one thing after another. I couldn't even take in all the information. I will slowly consider it. There is no need to give more. I quickly stopped him. Seeing that, he didn't pressure me anymore, just told the servants to take good care of me, then left. I choose a room to stay. It felt like I had just stepped into a real palace. Outside the door, a long line of servants stood waiting for orders, which I was not familiar with at all. At this time, the phone rang. It was DOA calling. She is my college roommate, currently running around doing internships, whining to me all day about how hard her job is. I think this time will be no exception. But as soon as she picked up the phone, she quickly asked, Nuok Hai, have you been kicked out of the house? I was stunned. How do you know? In the school chat group, there is a new girl, apparently added by the teacher. She said she was your sister. She also said she would hold a birthday party next week and invite the whole class to attend. DOA spoke simply, but I quickly understood the problem. Not only did she claim to be my sister, she also deliberately revealed that I was kicked out of the house. Anger flared up inside me. Is Chu-Ka crazy? I've already left her house, yet she still comes to my university to cause trouble? Without hesitation, I immediately called Chu Tu-Fong. He picked up the phone immediately, his voice calm. What's going on? I want to talk to Chu-Ka. My voice was full of anger. Before I could say more, Chu-Ka's voice came from the other end of the line, appearing extremely innocent. Miss Nuok Hai, is something wrong? Uncle Ka seemed to deliberately keep a distance from Chu Tu-Fong. His voice was gentle, but full of sarcasm. Miss Nuok Hai, what do you want? I gritted my teeth and asked directly, what are you planning to do? Chu-Ka laughed, her voice sweet but full of sarcasm. I just want to try the feeling of living like you. The life that should belong to me, including your university. Her voice suddenly lowered, no longer smiling. You don't think I'll forgive you easily, do you? You enjoy everything about me and then just walk away. It was no longer the fake voice from before, but coldness and deep resentment. There's no way I'll get it all back. My parents' love for me, my brother's care for me, even my good friends. I'll get it all back. I tightened my grip on the phone, causing my body to tremble. Crazy, do you have a problem? Her thinking is so twisted. Chu-Ka laughed softly, but his voice carried deep hatred. Do you know what makes me angriest? My parents cried because of you. My brother hasn't deleted your number, and the maid even asked when you'd come home for dinner. Do you understand my hatred? She gritted her teeth, her voice filled with hatred. You took everything from me. I will never forgive you in this life. I took a deep breath, trying to control my anger. I told you, your suffering has nothing to do with me. At first I felt sorry for her, but this attitude made it impossible for me to sympathize with her anymore. Chu Ka laughed coldly, remained silent for a moment, then smiled to himself and said, Okay, no more talking. Remember to come to my birthday party. I want to shine. Without you as a backdrop, how can I stand out? I smirked. Before I could respond, she continued. I almost forgot. I asked my dad to freeze all my cards. From now on, I won't be able to spend a penny from your family anymore. So you don't need to bring a gift to my birthday party, just come. She smiled complacently. Not only did her adoptive father block my card, but she also wanted to take advantage of the birthday party to humiliate me. At that time, she will be the focus of everyone's attention, and I will become the pitiful person kicked out of the house, unable to even buy a birthday present. How could I not be angry? She is so outrageous that she even wants to defame me right in the university. I can't just sit still and watch things happen like this. Want to join the birthday party? Okay, I'll go downstairs and call a housekeeper. She seems to be. The head butler is in his 40s, calm, intelligent, and has a demeanor better than that of a university professor. Would you mind helping me buy a tuxedo with a suitable pair of high heels? After all, it's a birthday party, so I think I should dress up a bit. Yes, ma'am, please wait a moment. She bowed her head, then quickly left, probably thinking I was preparing for my grand coming out party when my parents returned. Anyway, the day is coming when my family will hold a party, inviting all the important people in the upper class. Then I don't need to be too gorgeous. A little simplicity is fine, I reminded the housekeeper. Nodding, she left. I waited for a long time, but still didn't see her come back. Could it be that the servants of the wealthy work so slowly? At that moment, the sound of a car engine rang out outside. I curiously looked out the window and saw many cars entering the manor one after another. The female housekeeper immediately stepped forward to welcome those who had just gotten off the bus. I was surprised to see there were more than 10 people, mostly women, with only 2 men. They were all dressed neatly, with the demeanor of successful businessmen. More surprisingly, everyone carried many boxes of goods, looking both excited and stressed. I wonder even more, who are they? The female housekeeper came in and respectfully said, Miss, they are all top experts in their fields, here to serve you. I'm even more confused. What experts? These are stylists, who have studied abroad in Europe and America, specializing in dressing top models at home and abroad. And these are makeup experts, highly skilled, who have served A-list stars. Hearing that, I could only stay silent. I just want to find a dress and a pair of high heels. Why bring in a professional team like this? These makeup artists are very popular with upper-class ladies. These 2 men are hairstylists. Many famous stars come to them to design their hairstyles. The female housekeeper introduced each person one by one. I gasped when I heard it. I just want to buy a dress and a pair of shoes. Why do I need a professional team like this? Really half laughing and crying. Is this the life of a young lady? But anyway, they've come. I'm afraid to send them back. Furthermore, they brought a ton of things, from dresses, shoes to accessories of all styles. Okay, everyone help me coordinate my clothes. I just need to keep it simple. I had to accept the fate of a wealthy man. The whole group immediately got to work. Young lady has skin as white as snow. I recommend a cold blue dress to highlight her noble features. Your face is very suitable for a high bun hairstyle. I will try a style for you to see. I will help you try on these red high heels. Very flattering. I felt like a doll being rotated in every direction. Everything from head to toe is arranged in order. But I have to admit, this feeling isn't bad. Anyway, I'm a lazy person and often have difficulty choosing. Okay, everyone just choose for me. If you see something suitable, take it. Just give me a few options, I'll choose later. I let them be creative, without having to consult me every step of the way. After all, from outfits, hairstyles, makeup to accessories and shoes, everything needs to be prepared. I don't have the patience to handle everything one by one. 2 hours later, 3 plans were completed. I tried on all 3 dresses, each with a different makeup and style. The results surprised me. No matter how many floors I turn on the footer, it still can't be this beautiful. I decided to keep all 3 sets. Actually, just 1 set is enough. But what girl doesn't want more options? Okay, miss, we will arrange to send it to you as soon as possible. Some items are custom-made and need some time to complete. It just needs to be before Monday. Chuka's birthday party is on Monday. There are 5 days left. It should be on time. While waiting for the outfit to be completed, I felt a bit bored. It's such a large manor, but there's no one familiar around. Luckily, DOA still talks to me regularly, or rather, she is updating me on Chuka's situation. Nuok, hi, your sister is truly a real green tea. She is now a treasure in the chat group. All the boys say she is cute, giving out lucky money all day long, several thousand yuan at a time. It's understandable that people find it beneficial, so they surround her. Even I am moved, with so much lucky money like that. I smiled faintly. I know all of these things. After all, I'm still in the chat group. I just don't care or speak up. Because if I spoke up, it would definitely turn into a verbal fight between 2 sisters right in the group, making others laugh. I don't have enough free time to make myself lose face like that. I tease DOA. Then just accept the lucky money. Making money is much easier than working. DOA was angry for me. Aren't you angry? Even though she didn't say bad things about you directly, who can stand it all the time by adding hints like this? I looked at it and felt uncomfortable. I shrugged. What can I do if I don't like her? Should I fight with her? I'm lazy to argue. DOA didn't say that anymore, but not long after, she suddenly sent me a voice message. Nuok, hi, your sister just sent me a friend request. I frowned, feeling uncomfortable in my heart. DOA is my best friend. Everyone in the class knows that. Looks like Chuka wants to approach her. A few minutes later, DOA texted again. She's asking me about your interests and habits, and also asked if you like Luke Kin. Luke Kin is a rising star. He sings well, and his acting is also top-notch. Since half a year ago, I have become a die-hard fan of Luke Kin. My bedroom is covered with his posters. Chuka certainly saw it. What else does she want to do now? I heard that she learned about Luke Kin and said she also liked him. She even intended to win after a whole group of female fans in her class went to see Lu Jing's concert. Remember, I compiled a list of everyone who is his fan. After DOA finished speaking, I immediately got angry. I don't know why, but I feel extremely uncomfortable. Even my idol, does she want to take it away? I didn't want to hear any more, just coldly replied. She paid for Luke Kin's concert tickets. Okay, give me one. I also want to go. No matter what happens, I can't miss Luke Kin's concert. Anyway, he's the only idol I admire. Not wanting to think anymore, I went to the GM's room to practice for a while to relieve my frustration. After exercising, my body was drenched in sweat, but my spirit was much more refreshed. It was dark. I hummed a song while taking a shower. But before I could go to the bathroom, Uncle Vong came. He looked mysterious. I frowned and asked, "What's wrong?" He pulled me to the balcony and pointed towards the road outside the manor. I looked and saw a red super sports car parked under the streetlight. A man wearing a hat and glasses was standing there, looking towards me. Even though he couldn't see his face clearly, his handsome aura seemed to be felt from afar. Furthermore, I also felt that he looked very familiar. I turned to ask Uncle Vong, "Who is he?" "That is your brother. He is also the adopted son of the Luke family." Seeing me frown, Uncle Vong quickly explained, "Miss, don't take it to heart. The old man and his wife did not actively adopt him. Actually, he is the son of your grandfather's old comrade, entrusted to him before he passed away." Uncle Vong was afraid that I would be angry, so he tried to explain very carefully. I understood the problem. It turned out that the other man was a fake young master of the Luke family, and I am the real genius. But I didn't mind too much, just calmly said, "It's okay, there's no problem at all." But he accidentally reminded me of something. "Your real name should be Luke. Luke Nuok Hai is quite good, isn't it? Your last name is Luke, real name is Luke Kim. Your brother's name is Luke Kin, he is a singer." Hearing this, I was immediately startled. His eyes were fixed on the other boy again. The familiar feeling from before suddenly became clearer than ever. "Wait, Luke Kin." I opened my eyes wide. I couldn't believe my ears. Luke Jing, the famous singer and idol that I have admired for so long, is actually my adopted brother? There's only a bunch of chaotic thoughts left in my head right now. But before he could calm down, he got in the car and left. Uncle Vong sighed and slowly said, "Young Master Luke Kin doesn't know how to face you, so he just asked me to send my regards. If you don't accept him, he will leave the Luke family." I slightly curled my lips and replied calmly, "Of course I accept. I'm not Chuka anymore. Luke Kin is my idol. How can I not accept him?" I laughed and added, "Tell him not to think too much. Just worry about preparing for next month's concert." Looking at the rear of the car disappearing, I saw Uncle Vong breathe a sigh of relief. He clearly valued Luke Kin very much and was afraid that I would have a conflict with him. He nodded and said, "I will pass the message to him when the old master and his wife return. Young Master Luke Kin will also attend your welcome party and officially meet you." Meeting an idol in this situation was truly unexpected, but it made me feel extremely happy. That joy increased even more when my 3 suits arrived. I continued to enjoy my leisure time, until early Monday morning the phone suddenly rang. It was Chu Tu Fong's number, but the voice that rang out was Chu Ka's. "Miss Nuok, hi. Have you left yet? Do you still remember the way home? I'm waiting for you at the villa." Her tone was gentle but contained a scheming expectation. Officially declared herself as the daughter of the Chu family, and at the same time stepped on me to make fun of all her friends. I suspect that she bribed quite a few of my classmates just to ensure I would be humiliated in front of everyone. Joka must have prepared everything to defame me at the party. She couldn't have spent that much money giving out lucky money without any intention. "Are you leaving yet? All your friends in class have arrived." Her voice on the phone was full of excitement. I replied lazily, "Yes, I'm on my way. The entire class is already there. A room full of beautiful boys and girls, truly full of life." She deliberately emphasized the vibrant atmosphere of the party. I know she hates the fact that I went to university, while she had to live miserably in the mountains raising livestock and working hard. But I didn't want to argue with her, so I immediately hung up. I went to wash my face, then asked the manners servant to help me put on makeup and change my hairstyle into a simple high bun, but my face was carefully taken care of. Previous experts have already chosen the appropriate makeup style. Now they just need to follow it. Of course, I can call a professional team to beautify me, but I don't mind the hassle. After getting ready, I looked at myself in the mirror, not saying 10,000 people love it, but enough to make others turn their heads. "Miss, which car do you want to take today?" The housekeeper had arranged a female driver for me. I casually replied, "Lamborghini." With just one sentence, the Lamborghini was quickly taken out of the garage, shiny and luxurious, looking extremely cool. I was just about to get in the car to experience the feeling of driving when Uncle Vong came running. Miss. I frowned at him. "What's going on again?" "I have completed the contract. I have also asked for the opinion of the old man and his wife. They have all agreed. Please look over it once. I will proceed to sign." Uncle Vong held a thick stack of documents. I didn't have time to understand what was going on. "What is the contract?" The cooperation project between our Fong Hoa group and Chu Tu Fong's company. Didn't I say last time that I would let him earn tens of billions as a way to repay the favor?" I immediately remembered that. It's true that this is the case, but if my parents have agreed, then I don't need to look into it any further. "Okay, just follow the plan." I replied calmly and got into the car. "Just handle it. I don't understand those contracts." Uncle Vong nodded and quickly took the contract to process. I got in the car, and the driver drove straight to the Phuong Hong Villa area. When I saw the familiar scenery of the house, I couldn't help but feel a little emotional. After all, this was my home. The Lamborghini rushed through the gate, parking right in front of Chu Ka's villa. I immediately saw my group of classmates, most of whom were grilling meat in the yard. The atmosphere was vibrant, laughter echoed everywhere. Inside the villa, lights were bright, balloons stuck to the ceiling, and rose petals spread all over the ground. The maids were busy running back and forth. Everyone's faces were full of joy. As soon as I appeared, all attention turned to me. Anyway, a Lamborghini appearing here is enough to attract attention. "Oh my God, that's a Lamborghini. It's really cool. No wonder it's called the Rose Villa area." The adoptive parents and Chu Ka also walked out the door. Both of them were extremely surprised, and Chu Ka had a questioning look, staring at the car, trying to see who was sitting inside. Next to her were 5 of my classmates, 3 female, 2 male. Based on their attitudes, I can be sure that they were all attracted to Zhou Ku. If nothing goes wrong, These 5 people will later contribute to humiliating me at the party. I calmly opened the door and got out of the car. No need for fanfare. That simple action made the entire party yard fall silent. My adoptive parents also approached, their faces full of complexity, seemingly somewhat confused. Just as I was about to speak, Chuka suddenly burst out laughing sweetly, walked over, and pretended to hold my hand intimately. Miss Nuok Hai, Miss T saved a lot of money. This dress and car must cost a lot, right? Let me pay you. Her words sounded concerned, but anyone who heard them could understand that it was nothing more than a provocation. The space was silent for a moment. Everyone felt the smell of gunpowder in those words. I calmly replied, it doesn't cost much, Chuka. A flash of I see. Then I continued to say in a generous tone, we're not short of money. If you like supercars, I'll buy you one too. Don't rent a car anymore. It sounds easy, but in reality, I know clearly that the Chu family is not rich enough to be able to arbitrarily buy a Lamborghini. It's not that I can't afford it. It's that I don't dare to spend money on such a luxury. I just smiled slightly and didn't answer. Chuka also did not continue. The pair of storks glanced at the 5 people who had sided with her. It seemed like she was ready for them to make fun of me. But those 5 people just looked at each other. No one spoke. Chuka was clearly upset, but she tried to control herself, just pursed her lips slightly, then pulled me into the villa. Miss Nuok Hai, look, I posted posters of Luke Kin all over the living room. You like him the most, right? She smiled brightly and pointed at the wall filled with pictures of Luke Kin. Next month, I'll go see his concert and get an autograph for you, by the way. You've liked him for so long, and you still don't have any autograph, right? I looked at the posters on the wall, feeling extremely speechless. She actually pasted pictures of my idol all over the living room of the Chu family and fiercely announced that she would help me get an autograph. I replied leisurely, no need. Luke Kin's signature. I can take a ton. Now I'm no longer interested. This sentence made Chu Ka's face darken. I know what she's thinking. First, she bribed a group of classmates to humiliate me, then used Luke Kin to stimulate me, wanting to make me angry. It's not Luke Kin that makes me uncomfortable. It's Chu Ka's actions that truly make people feel disgusted. But unfortunately, I was completely unaffected. My calmness made Chu Ka start to panic. She stood next to me. Her figure was thin and small. Her outfit, although expensive, when standing next to me, looked like an ordinary item. Her plan failed. The whole process looked extremely childish. This is the power of money. I didn't need to say anything. Just standing there with a royal aura from head to toe was enough to completely overwhelm Chu Ka. Reluctantly smiling, she pretended to praise. Miss Nuok Hai, you're really cool. You have real personality. She stopped showing off the posters, turned around, and asked my adoptive parents, where are your parents? You said you would buy a gift for your child, but he still hasn't come home yet. Shouldn't he be home already? My foster father looked outside, his expression a bit worried. It's okay. It's okay to wait a little. Chu Ka smiled and looked at me. That's right, Nuok Hai. In the past when you first came to my house, your brother gave you a gift. Do you remember what it was? I frowned, feeling like she was about to make a mistake again. It seems like I left it in the room for so long that I forgot about it. In fact, I really don't remember. After all, it was a gift I received as a child. Then what? Chu Ka suddenly took out a silver bracelet from his pocket and held it up in front of me. Is it this? I looked closely at the old bracelet, discolored and deformed, distorted into an oval shape, no longer intact. It's exactly the bracelet that Chu Tich Fong gave me in the past. At that time, he was not happy when I was adopted into this family, but my adoptive parents forced him to accept me and told him to buy me gifts. He didn't want it at all, so he immediately ran to the gold store and immediately bought the cheapest silver bracelet and conveniently threw it to me. Where did you find it? I frowned. I remember it was lost a long time ago. I helped you clean the room. I found it under the bed. Chu Ka smiled brightly, then turned to the people around him, sounding sympathetic. Our sister Nuok Hai is so pitiful. Your brother is really so heartless. Why would he give away such a cheap item like this? If I remember correctly, it's less than 300 yuan, right? I raised my eyebrows. Very good. Are you bringing up old stories to make fun of me? It's so childish. I'm not even Zhou Zifeng's biological sister. I'm just an adopted orphan. It's not strange to be given a cheap silver bracelet. At this time, a female student suddenly spoke up. Dudi is just an orphan from an orphanage. Being given a silver bracelet is great. After saying that, she immediately looked away as if she had completed her task. There was no doubt that she had definitely been bribed by Chuka. Finally, someone came out and insulted me. I thought Nuok Hai was the daughter of a billionaire. Another female student laughed coldly. It turns out she's just an abandoned child. No wonder she can be the president of the student union. I wonder if I have to spend money to buy the position. As soon as the words ended, the atmosphere in the room became terrifyingly silent. Everyone felt the tense atmosphere, but no one dared to speak up. At the strange atmosphere, I almost laughed out loud. Yet Chu Ka showed mercy and stopped everyone. Okay, stop talking. Even though she's an adopted orphan, in my heart, she's still my biological sister. As soon as the words ended, Chu Tu Fong returned. His car almost hit the back of my Lamborghini. Chu Ka was visibly happy, but still did not forget to give me an arrogant glance. Then, like a haughty princess, she quickly walked out to receive her gift. Surely it must be a luxurious and expensive gift, at least a few $100 million. After all, today is his day. He is the main character. Everyone around was watching attentively, curious to see what the gift was. However, when Chu Tu Fong got out of the car and ran into the yard, his hands were empty. Chu Ka immediately frowned and looked around in the car. Where are you? Connie, please play with your friends first. I have to take my dad to the company. Maybe I'll be late. After speaking, he immediately pulled his foster father's hand and intended to leave immediately. The crowd all looked puzzled. Chu Ka's face immediately changed. He could barely keep calm. Aren't you going to buy me a gift? The vice president is looking for me for something very important. I have to take my father to the company right away. This is a big matter. When I'm done, I'll make it up to you later. Chu Tu Fong finished speaking and immediately pulled his foster father away. The foster father frowned and quickly asked, "What's going on?" "Dad, get in the car and I'll tell you. This is a trade secret." The foster father was still hesitant, looking first at Chu Tu Fong and then at Chu Ka, but I had clearly guessed that Uncle Vong's people had come to Chu Tu Fong to discuss cooperation. After all, it is a deal worth tens of billions. I smiled gently and seemed thoughtful. "Dad, just go with him. The company's business is more important. Today I will stay in your place to celebrate my sister's birthday." Hearing that, his adoptive father still felt a little guilty, but in the end he had to apologize to Chu Ka before leaving. After his adoptive father got in the car to leave, Chu Ka stood in the middle of the yard, his face pale, his whole body as if trying to suppress his anger, looking like a cornered wild wolf. As soon as his adoptive father and brother left, this birthday party seemed to be completely extinguished. The adoptive mother tried to smile and comfort Chu Ka, and also cleverly reminded everyone to be happy and comfortable, not to let the atmosphere become awkward. But I can see that she is very awkward. How could she not understand Chu Ka's mood? Not only could he not humiliate me, but on the contrary, he humiliated himself. The conflict between the two of us certainly became more intense. I proactively regulated the atmosphere, pulled DOA along to stir up the atmosphere, and finally helped the party go smoothly. It was just that when the party was almost over, I suddenly realized that Chu Ka had disappeared. My adoptive mother came to me, her eyes red, unable to say a word. I gently patted her shoulder and reassured her. "It's okay. I don't mind." She choked up. "I'm sorry," then quietly went upstairs. The party ended. I returned to the manor. DOA insisted on going, but I did not agree. Just let her experience a round of sports cars to satisfy her passion for speed and then send her home. When I returned to the manor, I saw Uncle Vong already waiting. Seeing me, he immediately told me the good news. "Everything is almost done. We have signed a contract with Chu Tu Fong. His company will earn at least 20 billion this year. 20 billion, for the Chu family, is a huge number. I also feel happy." Uncle Vong suddenly remembered something and continued. "Oh right, miss, we haven't told Chu Tu Fong about your identity yet. It's better to wait until the boss comes home to organize a party, so you can tell him directly." I nodded slightly. At that time, I, the golden lady of the Luke family, will sit and chat with my biological parents and brother, raising a glass of wine. Powerful figures in the world will remember them. This will certainly bring many benefits to them. After seeing Uncle Vong go, I also felt tired. so I went upstairs to take a shower and go to bed. But as soon as I lay down, the phone rang. It was Chu Ka calling, still using Chu Tu Fong's number. She still refuses to save my number herself. I picked up the phone, and there was sarcastic laughter on the other end of the line. Chu Nuok, hi. You're very happy today, right? Do you think you've won? I'm nothing more than a clown in your eyes, right? That's right, I replied bluntly. Chu Ka laughed loudly. The laughter echoed through the phone as if he was venting all his frustrations. Do you really think I'm a clown? Do you know why my dad and brother had to rush back to the company? 20 billion. My dad and brother just signed a big contract. This year the company will earn at least 20 billion. Chu Ka was extremely excited. His voice sounded like he was crazy excited. So what? I curled my lips slightly. You're really an idiot. You still don't understand? My family's total assets were less than 1 billion before, but now we can earn 20 billion. My brother says this is a leap in class. Chu Ka's excitement seemed to be transmitted through the whole screen. Do you know what gift my brother plans to give me in return? He said that as long as the first amount of money arrives in his account, he will buy me a supercar, buying it outright, not leasing it. Hearing this, I also understood why she was so excited. Finally, Chu Ka also has the appearance of a rich young man. Congratulations, I smiled faintly. Chu Ka suddenly fell silent, no longer smiling. She expected me to be jealous and upset, but I didn't care. A crowd of rich, powerful, or prominent figures in the business world. All eyes were on us when we stepped on stage. I could feel the tense atmosphere and everyone's attention, especially the whispers from below. Even though I was prepared, I couldn't deny that I still felt a little nervous. Luke Kin stood next to me, his demeanor calm and natural as always. He always knows how to attract attention without trying too hard. However, I felt a bit shy standing near him, not knowing if he remembered who I was or not. Everything seemed to be happening so fast, and I could only do as my mother said, not being able to show my tension. The party continued. Everyone was chatting happily, but I felt like a fish stuck in a sea of people, not knowing what to do next. Meanwhile, Chu Ka was always following me closely, his eyes full of provocation and innuendo. She kept looking at me as if she wanted to say something, but I chose not to care. Ultimately, I realized something important. Although I may not be the only one in this crowd, I certainly have the right to decide my life. Other things don't matter anymore, as long as I always do right by myself. Certainly, tonight will be a challenging and not easy night, but I will master it, as a way to affirm that I can also stand firmly in this society, not inferior to anyone. The story you share is a mix of family love, facing conflicts, and dramatic situations in high society. The main character, Nuok Hai, goes through many big changes in her life, from realizing her true identity to having to face the troubles caused by Chu Ka. Through these details, we clearly see the conflicts between Nuok Hai and Chu Ka, partly revolving around competition and fighting for the attention of family, property, and love from important people in life. Scene 3 of Nuok Hai introducing her to everyone at the party, along with the reactions of those around her, especially Zhou Ku, creates a tense confrontation, clearly showing the big change in Nuok Hai's life. It is certain that the story will continue to develop dramatically as Nuok Hai and the other characters have to solve the remaining problems. Luke Kin, an important character in the story, also brings many interesting elements to the relationship between him and Nuok Hai. With tense and complicated details, the story gives readers a feeling of suspense and anticipation for the next turning points in the characters' lives.